Hello and welcome to Rule of Three's video review for Hyrule Warriors, a hack and slash game from Nintendo and Omega Force. So this is the big Dynasty Warriors cross Zelda game. And if you've ever watched any of our Dynasty Warriors reviews, my basic feeling on Dynasty Warriors, it's good for about 5-10 minutes, and then I put it down because I get bored because it's overly repetitive and I usually don't get into the story as much because I don't find it interesting. So, those are my feelings on Dynasty Warriors. Whereas Zelda, I'm a huge, long-time Zelda fan. I've been playing ever since. I believe A Link Between Worlds was the first game I've played. Or Link Between Time, not Worlds. That's the new one. And I love Legend of Zelda. Ocarina of Time is, I think, still one of my favorites. That or Majora's Mask. One of those two. Anyway, so I was, when they announced this game, I was more like, okay, this could be some good fan service. I'll play just to see what they did with it and just kind of, do kind of an experiment and see, if it paid off. I was pleasantly surprised on almost every aspect of this game being better than I thought it would be. And for a, non-canon spin-off game, this is, I think, one of the best non-canon spin-off games of any series I've ever seen, especially since it's Dynasty Warriors. So the story of Hyrule Warriors is there is a sorceress named Sia. She is the holder of, guardian sort of the Triforce. She is able to see all the users of either one of the three pieces of the Triforce at any given time. Because of this, she fell in love with Link and wants to capture his soul so he will be hers only and not have anything to do with Zelda anymore. In order to do this, she attempts to collect the Triforce and is able to split the world into 3 time zones. The time zones being Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, and Skyward Sword. This allows for the game to also use characters from those games such as Princess Ruto, Medina, Fi, from all the games, and make sense of how all these characters are able to interact with each other in the present day of the Zelda game. The story is really, really good. I was surprised of how well written and executed and paced this is. I actually wish the campaign was longer than it was, and it's still pretty lengthy. Not as lengthy as most Dynasty Warriors games, but it was longer than I thought it would be, and it had a better story than I thought it would for, let's make a Zelda's Dynasty Warriors game, and, it really is really, really good. The characters, obviously, some of the best characters in the franchise, in my opinion. And they really pulled off a true Zelda game. I'm actually sad this game's not in the canon. I am actually really kind of sad that that's not going to be the case with this game. Gameplay is pretty much Dynasty Warriors. You pick a character, you pick a map, and you hack and slash through as many people and capture forts and take down enemy captains. And that's pretty much it. The stages do have boss monsters such as Queen Goma, King Dodongo, Ahriman are the big bosses, and then you have enemies from previous games such as Graham, Rosario, Volga, and a couple others. And you pretty much just try to beat the crap out of them and not lose your home base or whatever the objective is. So in that aspect, the game gets very, very repetitive and is very grindy in terms of having to grind out levels to upgrade your character's attack and get their level high enough to do harder challenges. So while the gameplay I do find a bit repetitive, it is a little bit different in terms of presentation. First of all, I think the game flows a lot better than any Dynasty Warriors game I've ever played in terms of how the combos and characters and how those all work. I was extremely impressed, and just the feel of the game felt better than I thought it would compared to other Dynasty Warriors games. Second, music. The music in this game is awesome. It's pretty much just Zelda remixes, and it is by far some of the greatest music I've ever heard for any game. Third, it are the specials. The animations are really cool, depending on the weapon and the character. and they all are basic from, very well fit the Zelda universe, and it's fun to, see, Zelda shoot light arrows, Link do his, super spin attack and stuff like that. All that is really, really well done. And the other reason is pretty much the fan service, I think, also helps the gameplay a little bit if you're into Zelda. There are four modes. Two are, similar, and then the other two are just kind of there. There's Legend mode, which is your story mode. You can do this multiple times to collect heart pieces and other fun things like skeletons, which unlock artwork and certain weapons. And then you have Adventure mode, which is presented in an 8-bit map from like the original Zelda game, and you move your character on the map and collect compasses, lights, candles, bombs in order to open up secret areas and move along the map until you find the ruler of the darkness. It's actually a really fun mode because it's not just, hack and slash the enemy, go get keep. There are actually little mini challenges on them, like kill 700 enemies within this time limit, beat 5 of these giant boss mobs without dying. Take this quiz of how well you know the Zelda universe and kill the right one and move to the next area. It's varied. While they're all pretty much the same, it's varied enough to where you can kind of pick and choose which kind of challenges you want to do, and have to pick the right one so you can get the items in order to get to the unlock the other bonuses on certain stages. I really enjoy Adventure mode. The only drawback I have for it is really just it's fairly difficult, so you end up grinding a lot in Legend mode in order to do a lot of the other challenges. That's my only real beef with Adventure mode. The other two modes are Challenge mode, which is just kind of silly challenges like how fast can you run to point A to point B. They're kind of silly. And then Free mode, which allows you to do any of the levels with any characters. Those are the basic modes. I really enjoy all of them. I pretty much just stick to Legend and Adventure mode. I did a couple of challenges that they'll probably expand on that. The other systems in this game are an upgrade system to where as you beat bosses, monsters, and other characters, you can gain weapon material to upgrade your character's basic parameters, such as how much super they get, how fast they build it, what your combo is going to be, defense rating for certain elements. This is also where the game gets a little grindy because you have to collect a certain amount of certain materials. Some are rarer than others, obviously. So you have to keep doing it until you get the right materials. The good news is most characters use unique materials. So if it's gold or silver, usually only one character is going to use those kind of materials. So you're not farming, the same stuff over and over again. You have to kind of find the right enemy and then upgrade that character. And then once you have finished that one, you can move on to the next without having to ever worry about getting more of that same material. It's a nice system. It's fun, but like I said, it's a little too grindy in my opinion. The only other downside to this game that I know is multiplayer. If you're playing 2-player, it's couch co-op. There's no online for this game, and one person's on the big screen, one person's on the tablet screen. Whoever's on the tablet screen is pretty much screwed. It doesn't have the same rendering capabilities. It tends to lag a little bit, and the picture quality obviously is not as good as on an HD TV. Those are the real only drawbacks to the multiplayer. It is kind of fun to play with your buddy, but I try to avoid, it's really only me and my wife that play the game. And even then, we prefer to play solo versus multiplayer because of the issues of the tablet controllers rendering for a game of this type. Other than that, the game's fantastic. Like I said, the gameplay all works very well, and they put a lot of thought into this versus what I thought was just going to be a fan service cash grab. Hyrule Warriors is able to take one of my favorite franchises in Zelda and one of my less favorite Dynasty Warriors and make probably one of the most awesome games I've ever played. I've had it since it came out on release, and I have not really put it down. So it's been about almost a week, and I've been playing it nonstop, which is unusual for a Dynasty-esque games to do. I'm giving Hyrule Warriors an obvious buy. It's one of the first games I've ever pre-ordered DLC for, and I was surprised at how well Nintendo and Omega Force made this game. Everything about it is just better than I thought, and an excellent addition to the Nintendo library. So that's it for this review. On Saturday will be Sherlock Holmes Crime and Punishment, and then either Sunday or Monday I'll be posting Shadow of Mordor. I'm doing Sherlock Holmes first just because I'm able to. That one's a little easier to play on my Vita when I'm now that I'm able to play on the big screen versus Shadow Mortar, which takes a little bit more of a steady connection. That's the only reason why. It's going to take me a little bit longer to get enough gameplay for Shadow to make a good ruling on it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Check us out on Hyrule03.com to get all my news updates. I only post news articles that I find interesting and actually worthy of your time and not like rumor speculation. We save that for the podcast, which is on Sundays. This week's podcast should be going up around the same time as this video because Bakumusha forgot to send me a file piece. Like us on Facebook and Twitter, all that good stuff. Thanks for listening, everybody, and always remember to trust in the rule of 3.